How you doing, bub? Welcome to the malware. I'm Matt. Wicked good to see you again. And man, this is a different one. A little out of left field today. We're gonna do a look at what the controversy going on right now between Dick Masterson and Eric July, and see what's happening. Uh, so I guess we'll start with this Rippaverse goalpost. If you don't know, Rippaverse, Eric July, also known as Young Rippa, he made his own called ISOM. I'm assuming most people who are coming here to look at this understand that or know that mostly. Uh, and so there's another account, Rippaverse Goalposts, who looks into creators who move the goalposts of what he was making to that point. Let's see what someone I followed for a long time, Dick Masterson, said in his most recent biggest problem episode.
Like savior, there's no sense of like, oh well, we finally beat that guy, here we go. There's no fun and games to his character. It's fucking nothing. You got
He's going into criticisms of ISOM. This is after he's reviewed it, right? And this guy's talking about veto.
guys need to really step up your game if you're going to take on Hollywood. That's it. That's
I think that's
my fucking review.
That's been
It needed a second.
You need to step up your game to be better than Hollywood. That's a pretty good
Draft.
pretty good
That's
criticism.
did need a second draft.
Second draft, like we'll get into this more.
Don't make the same mistakes in the second one.
And I guess, part of what drives me nuts, and I think it drives you nuts as well, is that there's a lot of these YouTube people who all day will say, this is great, and Hollywood is scared. They say Marvel is scared, DC is scared.
There's a ton of these people, and I follow a lot of them. I agree to a lot of what they're saying. However,
ISOM's going to change the game, and you go, oh, what did you think of the plot and the characters? And some of them will go, well, I haven't read it yet.
this is a big point that Vito's talking about, and we'll get to that. We'll get to more of that.
Haven't read it yet.
A lot of these influencers, oh yeah, so cool that Eric made this ISOM. Yeah, I bought it. It's so great. Haven't read it yet. Been out for months.
And you're like, okay. And then some of them have read it, and they go, it's a really solid first try.
Really
And you go,
solid
how are you gonna
first
take
try.
over Hollywood with a really solid first try.
You're not.
Yeah.
I
I would have no problem with this if everybody just said, oh, I really appreciate what he's doing, and, I'm excited to see if he grows as a creator. It's the constant hype machine
Yeah.
telling me this is the future of independent comics, where I go, well, if that's true, you guys are fucked.
This is a
We're
fun
all
super chat.
fucked.
Yeah.
And I don't want, again, as
Yeah, if this is the future of comics, it does feel like a grifter, in my opinion. And obviously you can see my bias. I've known Dick for a long time. Followed him ever since the lawsuit days. That's my bias. And I will show you actually my tweet that is in response to this. Got a couple likes.
as a guy who's making independent comics, I
Vito's
don't
making a comic,
like
by the
these
way.
guys going out and going like, hey man, have you seen how great independent comics are getting? You got to read ISOM, and someone's going to read it and they're going to go, you guys are all nuts. This is the best you have.
Sucks.
And then all
Right. That's a great point. You're trying to get people into the indie comic scene, into buying your product, and this is the first thing you're going to show them is. And I haven't read it. I'm not a comic guy. I'm very open with that. Very open with that. That's why I didn't buy it. I'm so happy for Eric. So happy he made 3.7 billion. Billion. Oh my god, he'd be rich. No, he made 3.7 million off of that first one. I'm happy. I'm glad that he made that with his independent comic. It's incredible. But maybe we shouldn't tout it as the most incredible thing ever, right? Especially as his first foray into the genre, into making comics.
the independent guys are going to get fucked because we're lying about the quality of what we're putting out,
Yeah. Spawn was like
Good.
Okay, yeah, this kind of splits off from here. But this is what I said. Dick Masterson is one of the best barometers of funny for a good reason. Not saying that ISOM needs to be funny. It's been clear through all 9+ years of podcasting that he's seen a script or two. He wrote a best-selling book, has part of a best-selling album, etc. Dick's seen the inside of Hollywood and trying to sell his ideas to them more than most of the Fellowship. I would say probably Gary Nerdrotic is like the biggest example. Who's probably seen a lot of inside of Hollywood, especially with the help of producer Randy. Actually, I don't think Gary's ever tried to sell to Hollywood, which is part of. I still remember a previous guest of the Dick Show, Denzel, tried to make a script for a better movie than The Hangover Part 2 and 3, and Dick and Randy tore it apart. Hilarious. Long time ago. A criticism that Dick and Vito Comedy point out are definitely valid as a guy who's not a fan of comics, looking from the outside of this fandom, comic fandom, in. Someone being realistic about your art, about the art you're making, is good to grow. And believe me, I'm happy for Eric July's success. I hope he keeps making more comics. I enjoy his content. I enjoy the monetize your hater stuff. It's hilarious to point out the psychos. Dick's not that. Vito is more and more closer to not that. As much as you want your opinions to be. I will let you keep. Look, Vito's a whole separate can of why. This is more about Dick and Eric than Vito. But he'll crop up. Going into this a little bit more. Let's see. I want to here go into the rip reverse one. So now this is the infamous. Now I'm gonna hit the button so I'm on the other side. You can see everything. This button. Go. This is what essentially started everything. 2 weeks ago, May 20th, 10 days ago, as of this recording.
No, if you don't like Vito
like so
after
many of
this,
these,
then
like,
you are basically
Guys
like
are just out there
heartless.
and they're like, I'm your dad, I'm your brother,
right?
you know, I'm gonna teach you how to be a real man
So,
or whatever the fuck else.
Vito
Yeah.
cries
It's sick.
on
Like Andrew
previous
Tate.
week's
Yeah.
podcast.
But then I worry that I'm like, well, like, am I doing that subconsciously? Like, do I
Right.
have to
Little bit
do
of
that?
setup.
And then you start kind of doing that as you start like being like, hey, I am your
fun
buddy. I
in
am
Vito's
your
studio.
friend. You know, come celebrate me or whatever. And
Come celebrate me. Yeah.
and
Isn't
you're
that
like,
like a
Wait, is he talking about like being a quote unquote influencer?
Yeah,
Is that
he's
what
talking
he's-
about
okay.
parasocial relationships.
Oh my
Oh
god.
dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say though,
It feels-
you do that. You literally do that to your real in life friends. Hey, come celebrate me.
yeah. And I don't know, man. You just don't want to go too far with it.
Yeah. Do you think maybe that
What's too far, like a
guys like Andrew
blowjob?
Tate and like Eric July,
you'll
like they
see.
really
I'll
are being
tell you, it's-
genuine, and that's just who they are?
See, that's what I don't
think this is
understand,
the
and maybe
right
that's why I get so upset with like Eric July is this whole like, we're gonna win. You guys are all part
Yeah.
of this thing I'm building. This is our company.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, where with me, I'm like, this is my comic. I made it. Like, I love you guys.
Yeah.
You're not like.
So this is
really
going
a
into
part- I don't
talking
know.
about Eric. Doing I get what Vito's trying to say here. It's like Eric's going deep into like, we will win. I appreciate that sentiment. I hope we, as like the Iron Age, new creators coming up, which not. I'll make some music for you if you want. if you're still sitting through this video, appreciate you.
But you are, you know, because that's a shitty fucking thing to say.
Yeah, but you made all
Like,
those
you're
lunch
making-
boxes and stuff.
Technically, you know, the customer is just a customer in sense.
That's
That's
people
what,
like you.
kind of what Vito's saying.
Even though it's
here.
a dumb idea.
I guess the whole thing of like crowdfunding is like the constant messaging of like, this is our journey. We're in it together.
Kickstarter should put this in their testimonials of you having a fucking meltdown.
Vito's just
But it is
sobbing.
like it is though. Eric July's building like that's the whole message is he's selling an alternative economy, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, but his comic sucks.
it's $3 million. Who cares
context. Dick has not reviewed ISOM at this point.
if it sucks?
I mean,
Does
artists-
it? Have you read it?
I haven't read it. No, I'm
Nina
not. I'm just
asks,
accepting the
have you
premise
read
that
it?
if it
No,
does
I'm
suck, it
asking
doesn't
Dick.
matter.
Have you read the comic book?
I looked at it.
So you didn't read it, but
That's
you
all that
think it
matters.
Sucks?
It's the picture.
Yeah. You know what?
well,
If it's good, Nina,
so funny.
shoot me in the head. I'm with. Okay. No,
I just feel like
mean,
you should.
No,
I don't know
maybe
if you
maybe
can-
that Eddie Murphy and Seth Rogen movie is great. Oh wow, I haven't seen it. How could I possibly? Maybe Indiana Jones 7 is good. Yeah,
It's also
I'm
great
fucking
voice.
retarded. Maybe it's fucking great.
It's like, again, love as this is just new stuff. Still talking about here. Like as saying, "Oh, Little Mermaid's dog shit" when he hasn't. It's the same sort of thing, and we all know Little Mermaid's dog shit. Anyway, moving on.
How are you?
moving
How
on.
are you
I'm
comparing
explaining
an
the point.
original content with Indiana Jones 7? I don't understand that.
Because everything I've seen about
Thanks.
Eric July's comic leads me to believe that it's trash and that it's like not written well.
But you would have to read it. That's what, like, if you're
Literally,
gonna, if
no.
you're gonna-
I could just like listen. Like, no one has said anything good about it. Everyone who reads it is like, "Yeah, we're taking him on." Like, "Oh wow, I can't wait for the next one." No one has said like anything. Like, I'm not even Vito. I don't care that Eric made $3 million and sold people his comic book. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like it's any good.
Maybe you should read it for yourself. And
I've heard
find
good
out.
things about
Do
it.
you
from
really
a lot
I've
of
want
heard
me to
good
read
things
it?
too. Yes.
Okay,
Maybe you
I'll
should read
read
it.
it and then
Why
give you
not?
a proper review.
And now he's
Please
gonna
do
read
it. I would
July's
love
fucking
that.
black superhero with a crucifix on his dick. I'm sure
Do
it's
it.
fucking
that's-
great.
Do it. Then you would have
Okay.
a valid opinion, though. 'cause
No,
then
I
you-
actually. This opinion is perfectly valid. It looks like
How?
a scam. How is it valid?
Yeah.
What's good about it? What's his superpower? What's his slogan? Give me the log line.
I don't know. I haven't
Give me
read
the
it.
commercial. Come on, other.
So Nina hasn't read it. This is part of the examples, guys. Just saying. A lot of these creators who are awesome, I'm so thrilled that they are giving the reach and extending their hand out to help other creators bring their items up, bring their creations up. I'm so thrilled with that. But Nina's staunchly defending Eric. Nothing against Nina. But she hasn't read it either. How does she know it's good? Right? So that's context there. Let's move on to this clip. It's a 30-minute clip. All of this. But that's essentially the context of a couple weeks ago. And
welcome to the biggest problem in the universe.
Let's do this thing.
You know what else?
Fascinating.
right side,
You know what
right?
else is tough about making choices?
What's tough, Dick?
If you're making a superhero comic, you should choose
Oh no.
what powers.
Okay. So this is already criticism. Pretty valid. What powers does he have?
This whole thing is gonna be.
Making choices.
Yeah, you gotta make choices. You gotta.
And look,
Anybody
this
could
is-
tell a
look,
story about.
Biggest problem is a comedy podcast. Again, this is lore for a long time ago. Back, I think it was 2014 when Dick and Maddox were doing Biggest Problem, the original one. The totally doesn't exist anymore. Original one.
Anything.
It's a comedy podcast.
Sorry, anyone
they
can
talk
tell a
about the
story about
problems of
everything,
Yeah.
but
universe.
making choices about
And
the
you rank 'em.
story and the
The
characters
viewer
and the
ranks them.
universe that they're in
Yeah.
is what makes it a story. You could have a what's your story about everything.
See, I'm making a
Who's
choice.
in it? Everybody. You could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine, but I have a whole day of making choices about where I'm sleeping and what I'm wearing. So I'd like you to make a choice.
Right.
I would like you,
So
Please
this is
choose.
who's making an
obviously he's going into
entertainment
some
product, to
criticism here.
choose what I'm
This was-
reading
Yeah.
on this.
This was this week's, actually, yeah, from where the clip earlier came from. Same clip. This review, which was near the end.
Or bad. There's a million ways to be gray morally, and none of them are decided on in this book. There's a lot of exposition. Now we meet the main bad guy called Darren.
Darren.
And I only know he's the bad guy because he's looks like the bad guy, right?
Well, he talks.
Because
doesn't he
Isan
talk
says
tough? He's
Darren
like a
must know
gang-
about this.
Yeah, he's like a
missing
gang
girl.
guy.
I'm gonna go see what's
And
up.
Isan and Darren have some sort of history. Well, isn't that kind of intriguing?
Yeah, it's weird their exchange of.
They used to be friends, it seems.
Yeah, usually. So when he meets Darren, Darren tells him who he is, which you would think would be the other way. If you're going to introduce characters,
Isom should identify Darren.
the guy that's brand new.
Yeah.
And that when the sister was talking to Isom, she should tell him who he is. You always said you would, like all of these things you can easily do to introduce characters.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure context of this. I think it's essentially bad guy shows up and explains himself as he walks on screen, kind of thing. I'm the baddest MFer here. Not in those exactly, but Dick is just saying, hey, in a writing sort of literature kind of thing, it would be the character who's already on screen describing who, or on page describing who is walking up, right? Thought bubbles, anything like that.
Right?
Yeah.
This is your sister. You always said you would do anything for me.
You'd do anything for me. Your sister.
Yeah, you've always been.
Yeah.
All the security guard had to do is say, "Hey, whore," and then if he hit her, it'd be like, "Well, okay." I mean,
Security guard.
it's not a
and
story.
like, you got to wait till the next issue to find out what's going on. And I'm
no,
like,
that's not good.
I think if you get 100 pages to tell
need
the
to
origin
know.
story,
100 pages for an
tell me
origin
around page 30.
Yeah,
I mean, if not earlier,
20, maybe
sure.
right away.
Maybe right. Well, right away is one way to do it, but if you really want to be like sneaky about it, sure. But
Yeah,
the fact that you get to the end of 100 pages and it's like, and maybe next issue I'm going to tell you what all that was about, and you're like,
no, you need to tell. You
Oh.
need to tell us now.
well, especially
need
if
to
it's
tell
like
us
the
before.
debut
This is-
origin.
okay, if you're saying this isn't valid criticism, come on now. This is. If you don't know what they're doing, what's the point? Where's the hook? That's a pretty obvious thing. It's the bane of a lot of video games. Say, look, I'm a video game guy. Bane of a lot of video games, story wise, gameplay wise. Hey, the tutorial's too long. Hey, the gameplay sucks. Hey, the story is dragging along. I have no reason to get through this. Same sort of deal. You got 120 pages of story, and there's nothing really of substance. What's up with
To
that?
have like story elements,
Yeah.
like saying no and
I think I'm just gonna skip
call.
along.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have anything else.
This
here.
is just random
need a
points in the
strong
video.
hook.
I'm not picking up. Like, I don't have numbers on the
Do
side.
you
I
like
can
being a
show you.
superhero?
What did you think about Yaira?
I mean, nothing. I think about everything in the book is just nothing. It's like here's
She's
a,
the blonde lady who can fly.
that's it.
They
That's
have a
it.
little fight, kind of.
And then he gets thrown into a car like a skyscraper, off of a building. So I know he has superpowers.
Yes.
The little girl says he has superpowers, but he just continues keeping
Woo,
up this
that's
fake
great.
mystery that he doesn't.
Again, if this comic was like 25 pages long, I'd say, okay, I assume you're going to get to it. But 100 pages is really long to not.
It doesn't
give the
matter if
audience
it's the first
anything.
one. It doesn't matter. There's no way about, well, you know, he's got some kind of an anklet, or, you know. Detective.
Yeah.
That's what he is. It's like a detective, but what if he had billions of dollars? Do you see he's like this, but this. That's how we built a millennia of storytelling up to this point, from
Totally.
Gilgamesh to Howard the Duck. That's how we got here.
Okay, so as you can see, there's some pretty valid, funny, obviously a little over the top, funny. It's the funny comedy show criticisms. That went away. Now, Dick released his notes. That's what Eric here is going to be talking about, and again, more recent fan of Eric than
Like I said, let's monetize hater. So this is some notes here. Let's talk about iSong.
I think. Yeah, let me go through this whole intro.
We have a little bit of an opportunity to monetize a hater, and that's exactly what this is.
Context again. Eric does this whole monetization. Monetize your haters. He does that as a stream. Right here. There it is. Monetize your haters. He does that. I love it. It's such a great idea. And I want to say the last dummy he had on was that was something else. to watch.
I believe YouTube gives us what, 3 uploads,
throwing
I believe, in
N-bombs.
terms of notifications going
Crazy.
out, and I had
Crazy
one
guy.
available. Now, I'm not going to mention this person's name. It's not even important by any means. They
Now,
certainly
already
love that.
he's not going to mention his name because he's a small time detractor who just wants his name out there.
To try to present this as if this is some like public spat, and they could try to like kind of leech
This was
off
on
of the
Sunday, a couple
success
days
it
ago.
is that I've certainly had. Definitely
Just
those
before
inflammatory
Memorial Day.
types is what these cornballs usually do. I do often think it is whack when people try to sort of throw their hands and then hide them behind their backs. Generally bad actors, which is what this guy's notes that we're going to go through here in a little bit regarding
He's
ISOM.
already generally bad faith actor. I can argue that with the first, the little Rumble thing I sent you or I showed you, with Nick Rekieta's show. I can give you that because he hadn't seen the comic yet. I can give you a little. I'll let you put a foot in the door. What's in the door?
Talked noise before the guy claimed to read it, and then read it, and of course continued to talk noise, almost if they had like a motive certainly there.
Motive.
Now, people are entitled to whatever opinion it is that they have, but oftentimes these types, because of their bias getting in their own way, they miss fundamental stuff. On the other hand, because they are often narcissistic, they like to think that that's the fault of.
That's a lot of YouTube creators, by the way. I mean, I assume I don't have that, but I think it's most people trying to do this job. And it's not a job for me, but it's just most people, included. He's been on since what, 2009? He's been on YouTube since like 2009 or something like that. A long time. There's a little bit of narcissism in there. Nick Rekieta, for example, comes out with it outright. Yeah, I'm fucking narcissistic. Totally. That's what. Look, that's fine. Fine. When you're like trying to come up with ways to fight your detractors, I don't know. It just
Someone
doesn't work
else,
out.
their lack of comprehension. We're not going to allow them
In
to
my
do
opinion.
that here by any means. But like I said, let's monetize hater. So this is some notes here. Let's talk about ISOM. 2 weeks ago,
This one is a 47.
do not
minute
start
video,
back
so we're not
in
gonna go over
time.
this.
Are
This
we?
is, all right. I want to talk about this criticism right in the beginning. This note. This is Dick's notes. So, 2 weeks ago, do not start back in time. The first thing that's written down, the first words, 2 weeks ago, according to Dick. Kind of a weird way to start your story. Usually you do that setup of 2 weeks ago when, they're in a big battle. They're fighting. Boom, slow-mo, big punch. And then it's like fade to black 2 weeks ago. Then it's how they got to that big fight, right? Or you just start your story. This is, as Dick said earlier, you just start your story. Maybe do it 2 weeks forward. Start your story 2 weeks later. Just have that page. Why do you got to start with 2 weeks ago? That's weird. That's a weird way to do that. That does sound like just literally a little bit of editing. That's all you needed. You could probably keep the same page. Change one page. Add a page in the beginning. Make your 120 page. I don't know, man.
This sort of deal up here where it says
Skip ahead a little bit.
back. Maybe that's something more
He's bringing out his
precise,
comic.
and that's legitimate
Show.
because you're trying to obviously make this person better as opposed to just nitpicking when, again, none of this actually makes sense. But referring to this, where were
This
we at?
Mrs. Newman thing is also interesting.
The Alpha Core being back. I don't know what he's talking about Alpha Core being back when in the beginning of the book she said she's back, right? And then obviously when Alpha Core show up and they confront Yaira, not sure exactly what's so confusing about that, but this guy of course insists that so AlphaCore is back, but they also haven't been used in weeks. I thought I was missing something. No, the beginning of the book, it says 2 weeks ago. We're now, that's why the actual police, if you actually read the book, were sort of creeping up on her, trying to get confirmation if this was actually her. And then they phone in the AlphaCore. She's the one that's back, not AlphaCore being back. And again, how on earth are you confused by that when Brian's the one that say, we figured it was you. You were told not to come back. So how on earth could you be somehow confusing that?
Okay.
Again, these are basic comprehension issues.
These are just the notes Dick wrote down. Some back and forth. Sure.
God, no.
That's
not what the scene actually shows. I'm guessing you're referring to the guy who accepts would, let's say, be the AlphaCore. You pick up on that considering that they're phoned in, and I don't know if they have abilities. Because why did he run away? It's convenient, and then he gets taken into an impound lot for his car. That made no sense. Okay, he drives to a club. Okay, that's Darren's club. Club Merc. He gets kicked out of that bad boy and is thrown. Ends up running into Yaira, gets thrown then down. He goes to the hospital. His car was towed. The fact that I'm explaining this is so silly. The car was obviously towed by Club Merc. They didn't want it there. What, did they just supposed to keep? Did they just kick this guy out in the way that they did? They're just going to leave the car there? That's a lot more detail than oftentimes you get in comics. What do you mean it made no sense?
Okay, continue on. This is just showing Eric's side. Hey, he's the creator. He's showing. I don't know why he doesn't want to say Dick's name. It's kind of.
About more what happens in the club, which was you asked earlier. What was
this
it?
doesn't seem
maybe you kept reading. You kind of learn from that
this
dialogue.
Seems like a first time reading the comic, writing down his notes.
Happens between Lillian and Michael. What exactly is this club? What's going more?
Someone who's seen a lot of scripts, a lot of writing.
So
if he's having struggles with what seems to be obvious things to the creator, it's the creator, remember. Maybe it's a little more difficult.
In it.
Anyway.
There are people taking selfies and smiling outside. Hollywood is more dangerous than this at night. It's an affluent part of the city. It doesn't seem like a bad place. Isom says he has no plan and he doesn't seem to have a goal. Yeah, he's rogue. He's going in frustrated, feeling disrespected, and that's what he's acting on. It's an impulse sort of that he's acting on. He has flaws. You're crediting me here. He then enters the club, which consists of normal-looking couples, and he threatens the woman to leave or else he will beat them. He says that he's not sparing anybody if they jump into the fight. He didn't say he was going to beat her. He said, if you jump into it, he's not sparing anybody. The way you do it is go in and warn people, then you get a it's like, what? This whole, it's just, you have to do it this way. Like, okay, man, you're free to write your own book and what you do it that way. I'm not knocking that, but acting like that way is the way is a little bit of arrogance about you. You don't go in.
I don't know if it's arrogance. He's writing his criticisms.
And threaten people and get attacked. You are the villain in that scenario. Who is this jackass? A woman says. Indeed, yeah. You can see kind of the dialogue happening on both sides there. Isom is delusional. The big guy comes back and says something about ensuring defeat, which doesn't really make sense. What? He ejected Isom from the club. He wanted to kill him. No, what are you talking about? Isom says he came with only respect, but this isn't true. He came with only disrespect. He was asked to leave and then assaulted the guards when he didn't. No. To him, he looks at it like disrespect. You got definitely Darren Fontano talking about him working in his kitchen and all sorts of things. And then he told him to basically go fuck himself. He takes sort of issue with it. And then Darren told him to essentially lie it's essentially a lie to the people who are inquiring about Jasmine. He takes exception to that.
It seems like this is a lot more context from an outside perspective. Just saying, there's a lot more context that might not be in the book. I could be wrong. It's 100 pages. I could be wrong. Seems like more context.
He lives on his own ranch that's right outside it's right outside the city. So he clearly explains that in his internal dialogue, like, I'm out here for a reason, but somehow I always make my way back into this city. Ultimately, there should have also been some violence against Isam's family to explain his paranoia. All this is happening like back to back to back to back. This is like the same day, same night for that matter, where all this is happening. Maybe the death of his sister's husband was suspicious or known to be in his gang. This could be known, but it needs to be said. Why? Why do you need to know? This guy's asked. He's basically, you need to say this. You don't need to leave any crumb. All of this needs to be explained. Why do I need to hold the audience? What's the fun in that? There is none.
Maybe you need a hook. I don't know.
The entire comic is is too coy with details like this that are integral to the characters and our connection with them. Other people seem to not have a problem with this setting. The flashback at the beginning still makes no sense. I just explained it to you earlier on. Conversation in the precinct.
Things were
says
good.
She's back. Obviously, you find out not too far after the fact when we move up because we go from 2 weeks. And what does it say? Let's go back. So when Yai run, she's back, as the captain says, right? She's back, and also Brian says it. You were told not to come back. How is an empire? I guess he's referring to Darren, but I don't even know. Certain commissions, he's one of the first. Certain commissions just weren't worthwhile anymore. Well, you certainly upgraded, says Isam. He says, some of my customers aren't even from here. Therefore, their compensation can be a little unorthodox, but that makes it even more valuable. Have you heard of Rubanon? Coy about any detail, I don't know what he's going on about. They say who he is all the time, or else just like the farm. There's two people that know. Well, no, I take that back from what I said earlier. Two people know who Isam is, or knows that has run into him that you get from this. Santuan, obviously, and Cedric. Not everybody. I don't know what it is that he's talking about. Superpowers. You don't know what his powers are. You don't learn about everybody's powers in the first book and everything that it implies. However, you do get a sense of what he can do. But the book,
I guess this is a just as a passing person, who's again not read very many comics at all. I feel like a lot of Iron Man, Spider-Man, Batman. Batman's going to be a weird one because you don't really know from the get-go what that is. Superman, pretty obvious he has some superpowers, right? Iron Man, just based off the name, they have powers. Just making your medium a comic doesn't inherently make your character have superpowers. There's a lot of different genres of comics. So I feel like this, if you're making a superhero comic, you should probably go into at least one of the powers. Maybe just say, man, when I was a kid, for some reason I could punch really hard. Especially if you don't make it obvious at all. You need to make it obvious for something that's a superhero book, right? Because hey, dummy, this is a dummy right here. Dummy who would want to read the book. Why am I hooked to this book? I don't even know what's going on in this. Oh, he has powers? He doesn't have powers? Anyway.
Seems to people that obviously have, he usually know, because there's a lot of stuff that he just gets fundamental for all of our customers and all of that good stuff. So we get feedback on kind of mad because hey, I wait against him. Like, this is, or he's stupid. But I will say this. Look, I never have presented. I think well, first of all, this guy is mad because, hey, I have success that he believes I'm undeserving of. Okay,
I don't think so.
Thinks I suck and all this other stuff.
I also don't think
Nobody,
so.
and this should go without saying.
Does Dick think that Eric sucks? He thinks he's just new at this. I think from those clips before, it's new at this. He is concerned at the fact that everyone is kissing his ass, I think.
And pretends like I'm writing
Vito
perfect
too,
stories.
Thinking
Okay?
that.
Because nobody does that. And certainly when you nitpick in a way, I could probably go through any Captain America book that I'm looking at and sit there and nitpick like you did.
I
Tens of thousands.
really don't think all of this was nitpicks. A lot of these were criticisms that were very valid. And nitpicks, again, this is... I'm arguing with someone on Twitter at basically at the same time right now about this. EFAP covered, I forget his name. There was another creator just a couple weeks ago about this, saying, "Oh, nitpicking's not criticism. No, it's not. It's not criticism. There's no way. It's not real. It's not valid." Just like Eric kind of did right now. Nitpicking is definitely a form of criticism, and it's usually intended for small things, like say there's a coffee cup in an episode of Game of Thrones. That's a nitpick. It's not ruining the story. It's not ruining everything about the whole show. Hey, you left a coffee cup in the show. That's a nitpick, right? It's a valid criticism. This couple of frames has a coffee cup in a setting that definitely shouldn't have coffee cups, right? That's a valid nitpick. A lot of content creators, unfortunately, Eric is falling into this trap right now, is saying that, oh, you're just nitpicking, when they're afraid of valid criticism. And look, I hate criticism. It's one of the things that it burns inside of me. But I want to get better at this. I want to get better at this whole YouTube thing. That's why I'm doing more and more videos of this. That's my example. I had to get better at making music. That's what I was working on. Industry soon, but it's besides the point. I have things that I'm trying to practice and get better at. Bars. It's all just, you got to get better. And I think that's a lot of what Dick's criticism was, is that he wanted you to get an editor who's done comics, who's done good stories, especially starting out stories. It seems like it's more Eric's brainchild that he just got great artists to make, kind of thing. Drawers / colorists is what. So I think that's essentially all the video I want to show. Yeah, I've basically gone into everything, showed you my biases. Obviously, I'm more on Dick's side on this one. Look, I love Eric too. I love what he's done. I'm happy he made so much money on iSong. I'm not gonna buy it because I'm not a comic guy. I'm trying to show you what's going on. All this whole spat back and forth. We can look at a couple of these. This guy, Jesus, dude. Eric followed his dream and people bought it and enjoyed it. Maybe spend your time creating instead of hating. You hating on him now is not going to take away from what he has already cultivated. True. It's review. I wrote a review of iSong for my audience. They enjoyed it. Mocking people for their vanity and competence is half of my comedy. Absolutely. Spend your time creating instead of hating. He created a review for iSong. This Mibby guy, man, I enjoy a lot of what he. I'm at 16 notifications. Jeez. This one here. Dive down Twitter. Eric July is still combing through the tweets of every single person who responds to Dick Masterson so he can fight some comic. Maybe. It's a comic about a dude who gets out of retirement because a broad asked him to, and then proceeds to go on a revenge tour because he lost a fight. Isom is literally a seething simp. There's nothing admirable or heroic about the character. Sounds like this guy hasn't really read it. Isom doesn't come out of retirement when he goes into the city. He just goes to the city. It's also bizarre to call someone a simp for doing something that's asked of his sister and expected of his mother. Advising against whoever's notes you're reading. Better not. And that's where this came from. Kind of interesting. Let's scroll. This is all like Sunday, same day as Eric July stream. Right here. This is Cecil, man. I like Cecil too. Cecil's hilarious. I love him on Flashcast when he goes on. Cracks me up. Another point. I didn't read it yet. Okay. We're gonna cut through a lot of. Yes, I'm one of those weirdos that think you should read the book before reviewing it. You could cut the jealousy and feminine energy. Maybe I should do it like Cecil voice. He's very nasally. I'm not hating. Sorry, Cecil. Just fucking with you. Also, this is Cecil. This is how the mic goes. Just so you know, the mic this points at your mouth, not down. See, it sounds like shit now. And also, you can't even hear me now. I have to speak up loud because you can't hear me. The microphone goes up to your face. Doesn't go any other way. It goes up to your face. Sorry. Audio again. I read the book. I posted my notes. Go read them if you want. They're all simple stuff on character development, motivation, and plot. I give relevant examples throughout. Just answer me this. What is your favorite scene from Isom? Yes, you read the book after you shit on it. Bravo. I didn't review the book because I haven't read it. Okay. Cecil hasn't read it. I'm weird like that. I have no issue with you not liking the book, but crapping on it without reading it and making those false topple Hollywood claims was okay. You guys have never shit on something you haven't seen yet, huh? Fucking lol. Nice deflection. This is so fucking true. So true. What was your favorite part of Isom then? Just tell us the scene that resonated with you. Can you read? I literally just told you that I haven't read it. Unlike you, it prevents me from reviewing it. This is exactly what Dick's point is. That a lot of these creators who are blowing wind up Eric's ass, which is the best colloquialism, the best metaphor I can come up with. Sorry. It's just they haven't even read it yet. It's been out for months. It's strange. I don't know. It's very strange to me. That's essentially all I want to get to. Nice long video for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate you stopping by and talking. If you do, probably gonna get a lot of flack for this if it even. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good day to you, and talk to you later.